Hello, welcome to WriteOn. My name is John Abrahamson. I am your podcast host. I am also a published author of children and adult fiction. Ironically, 5 years ago today, St. Patrick's Day, 5 years ago, I published my first paperback. It was adult fiction, and shortly thereafter, I started publishing children fiction. And the purpose of this podcast is I'm planning on doing, maybe 15 to 20 5-minute episodes, really just discussing things that I've learned over the years to get over the hurdle and the challenges that most first-time authors go through. And then that'll be what I call Season 1. Season 2, I'm expecting to have some other authors on. I have a few friends that have published books, some here locally in Charlotte, North Carolina. Others are out of state. So I plan on interviewing some of them and get their feedback that will help aspiring authors as well. And I'd also like to, to ask for you to send in questions, whether if it's to the podcast itself, whether if you go to johnabrahamson.com. You can connect with me on all the social media platforms. I'm on pretty much all of them. And to use some of those questions that you send and to respond and create a 5-minute podcast for that as well. And maybe in the future, after you publish your books, I'd be fortunate enough to have you on my show. So thank you for joining. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I really want to really help those that, have stories in their head or really feel like they have a passion or a drive to write. A lot of the things that you're feeling right now is normal, and most, if not all, authors go through it at some point. I bump into people all the time, whether if it's at work or friends and family or just random people in the writing community on Twitter, and we all share a lot of the pain points, right? But until you really to work on that craft, which writing is, it's a craft. It's like going to the gym and working out your muscles or your body. It works the same way. If you're not working on the craft of writing, you're not going to improve. And I bump into all these people all the time, and they say one of two things, very similar things. One is, I really want to write a book. And I don't know if that means they want me to help them write it, kind of like a ghostwriter. If they want me to write it for them and they just give me the story idea, or if it's kind of them reaching out and saying, hey, you did this and I feel like I can do this. And that couldn't be any more true. If I can do it, if I have multiple books published right now, you absolutely can do it. And the purpose of this podcast is to help address some of those pain points and issues or things that are going on in your head that is stopping you from fulfilling that dream of being a writer. We'll talk about some key things. I'm sure most of you have a full-time job right now, so time is an issue, right? We're all busy. I myself, I'm a full-time employee. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a full-time student currently. Heavily involved in fundraising and other aspects. So I get the time factor. Time is tough. But the reality is, if you want to become a writer, you need to make the time, whether if it's 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, an hour a day. Writers write, and it's that simple. And we'll talk about that. I know, it sounds a lot easier than it is, because writing is tough. It does take discipline. It takes time. You need to carve out things that are important to you. And again, I'll get in that in future episodes. The other thing I hear is people that just get caught up in the process and they never finish it. I know multiple people that have started books that just have never finished them. This podcast will cover those challenges as well. I've done the same thing. Before I published my first book 5 years ago, I fell into pretty much all of those traps. In fact, I rewrote my first book so much, I probably could have published 50 books. So I'd love to talk about that. Love to to hear your feedback on that. If we can address any more of those topics that we cover, to really help you through it. It's either I want to write a book and they don't know where to start, or maybe they need some basic tools like what does your process look like? And every writer's process is different. Again, we'll cover that in the future. So I either hear, I want to write a book and I don't know how to start, or it's, I've started a book and I've been in project hell forever and I just feel like I'm not going to finish. So we'll cover all of that. Again, my goal is to do roughly 5-minute podcasts, so it's small, consumable, quick chunks. Whether if you're in the car on your way to work, if you're in between meetings, if you're waking up and having your morning cup of coffee, relaxing before bed. The point is to not have these 30-minute, 1-hour type of episodes that takes you time to listen. So thank you for joining. I look forward to recording these episodes. I look forward to engaging with the writing community and the aspiring writing community. We're going to have fun. And thank you, and I'll talk to you soon. Write on.